Hi everyone, it's Chloe here and I'm the owner, maker and creator of Emmy Creations. Welcome back to my channel. So the last video that I posted was about my prep. So today's video is actually all about how my market went at the Kirribilli Markets, which was held 3 days ago, I think, since I made this video. So it was a really great day. So my husband and I, we actually packed our car the day before the market because we didn't want to scramble, we didn't want to, rush and forget anything. And luckily on the day I did not forget anything because I did that. So if anyone's thinking of doing a market, definitely pack your car the night before, because it really saves you the stress and everything when it comes to the market day. So yeah, we woke up at 5 a.m. We woke up really early because for this particular market, it says loading was at between 6:30 to 8, and I guess for me and my husband, we kind of wanted to arrive a little earlier because it was our first time at this market and we didn't really know where loading areas were and where the best area to park was. And also we brought Captain with us, who's actually sleeping right next to me right now. So we decided to wake up at 5 and we left our apartment at 6 a.m. so that we could get there at 6:30 as soon as the loading time started. It was funny, when we got there, the whole loading area was already full. And we were like, but it's not even 6:30 yet. So we kind of had to park in a small street, and luckily we packed a trolley with us, and it fit in our car and we were able just to roll everything to the market. So that's another tip actually. If you're ever going to do a market, definitely have a trolley on hand, because that will save you doing rounds back to your car and you don't know how far you're gonna park. But yeah, it was the drive to the market was really nice. It was really nice seeing the sunrise, especially as we were driving over the harbour bridge. It was a pretty good drive. There was no traffic because it was so early, but the drive home there was a lot more traffic because we were driving home between 3 or 4 p.m. I think, or around 4 p.m. But anyways, so we got there and there was already people set up, like they already had their things on their table, and this was 6:30, and in my mind I was like, but the market doesn't start till 8:30, why are you already set up? But there were already locals there looking at the things and just seeing what there was at the markets. But anyway, so we got there and then I went and found my spot, which was in the tunnel, and I couldn't believe my eyes. There was a car parked right next to my market spot, and I was like, how am I supposed to sell? And these kind of things do happen. People who don't know the local area very well, they tend to park in areas where most locals know not to park. And so there was this big red car just next to my spot, and luckily enough, one of the store holders came up to me and said, you should talk to the organizers and then they will give you another spot, because they usually don't let store owners set up their store right next to a car. And it was a good thing that she told me that, because I actually just moved across and then I had a wall behind me, and then I was able to set up my table, which actually my husband was like, oh, this space is so much better than the one that you booked. And then I told him that all the wall spaces were taken when I booked my store. So it was really nice to be able to move and not be next to the car. And it was really funny. The car owner who came to pick up her car, she literally had her face in her hands when she realized what she had done. And a lot of the organizers, they weren't happy about that. They weren't happy that she parked her car there, even though it's been advertised that there will be markets that day and everything. But then I looked at the car, the parking sign, and it did say you can park all day up until 8:30, and she rocked up at 8:30 and just realized what had happened, that she was parked in with all these stores, and she literally did like 100 3-point turns just to get out. So it was a good thing that I wasn't next to her and there was enough space for her to slowly edge out of the market. But it was I think I could tell she was very embarrassed and she didn't want to be there. But regardless of that little hiccup, market was set up. I was really happy that I was able to fit everything, like my 2 tables, because the spot that I actually booked, it was actually smaller than the 3x3 meters that was mentioned on the website, and the 3x3 was really the space that was against the wall. So I was lucky that I was able to just have one straight line for my tables. If I had my original spot, I think I would have had to do like an L-shaped setup, which I didn't plan for, so I would have had to spend a lot of time to figure that setup out. So even though I got there at 6:30, I didn't finish, setting everything up until 8. And I just thought to myself, why did it take so long? And one was because there was a car next to my spot, so I had to make adjustments. Like I had to run between the organizer's tent, run back to my own spot, move my tables from my original spot to the new spot, and yeah, it was just a little bit of chaos, but it wasn't too chaotic, so I wasn't too stressed out. And the good thing was I had my husband there as well. Not that he really did much, he just did a lot of the heavy lifting, but I'm really thankful for that because I don't really have big muscles. I don't have that strength to be, lifting tables and opening tables. Still can't open the fold out tables that I got. I just have no strength. I think I really need to do some strength exercises in my arms. So yeah, and Captain was there as well, so he kept my husband entertained. I think my husband was very tired at the end of the day because he was puppy sitting Captain the whole day. Well, not puppy sitting because his own dog, but he was just constantly moving around and he didn't really get a chance to sit down even though he bought his camping chair. But yeah, so everything went really well. I did get a lot of sales, and I'm actually going to talk about that today. I actually have it all written in my book, and also just comparing it to the first market that I ever did and just comparing the numbers to that, and just to get you guys an idea in terms of, I guess what markets to go for. I guess it's really hard because I've only done 2 and I'm already talking about it, but it was just and there's also a lot of external factors that influence how much you sell, and the demographic that comes in as well, that also influences your sales as well. So I will talk a little bit about that in this video, but I just wanted to summarize like how the Kirribilli Markets went, and it went really well. Like I would say I didn't earn as much as my first market, but I would say I met a lot of different people compared to my first market. So I would say the first market, I had a lot of people who were between, they were teenagers, between teenagers to their, I would say, mid-20s or late 20s, whereas the Kirribilli Markets, there was definitely a much larger range of age groups. It literally went from like a toddler to someone who was in their 70s and like 60s and 70s. So there was a much larger crowd, and I think I wanted to see how that went and just to see who was really interested in my items compared to the first one, because the first one, it was a very small age group that rocked up at the cafe to view the markets. So it was really nice to see everyone's reactions when they saw my store, because when I set up my store and I looked around, I just thought, oh goodness, my store is very different to everyone else's stores here. Like I sold really cute things, really colorful things, and everyone else there was selling very adulty stuff. So like candles, baskets, jewelry, clothes. So I felt like my store was very out of place, but at the same time, because it was so different, it actually drew a lot of attention. So I would say my store, having seen the stores around me, my store definitely had quite a bit of attention because I had a lot of cute stuff. And everyone's reaction when they saw like my dim sum and my other larger toys, their faces were just in shock or in awe just by how cute the things were. I would see people that would walk past and then they would do a double take, they walk back, and then their eyes would just go wide open, just just from the sight of what was on my table, and that actually made me so happy. Just seeing the reactions, like I didn't even care if they purchased anything or not, because just seeing their reactions and just hearing what they had to say about my items, which were all very beautiful comments. They were all so lovely. Everyone just was just complimented everything that I made, and that made me feel really good. And I think that was one of the reasons why I wanted to do markets, was because I wanted to have more of that face-to-face interaction with people. And when you're running an online store, you don't really get that interaction. You do sometimes get a message here and there saying how amazing your work is, or how thankful they are that you were able to make something for them. But it's not the same when you see someone's face and their reaction to your toys and your creations. So it was really heartwarming to see everyone's bright smiles, and just asking me about crochet and how long things take. Which gives them perspective on why I price my toys a certain way. And I think there was a little bit more appreciation as well for the craft. So on the day, different to the first market, I actually had time to crochet. So I would sit there and crochet a bow, or I would be standing, because I didn't want to sit all day, so I would be standing and crocheting. And sometimes Captain, no nom nom, no nom nom. We taught Captain how to press buttons, and now he knows how to press the nom nom button. No baby, no nom nom. Okay, so where was I? Yes, so I was able to bring my crochet stuff with me, and I was just crocheting while I was waiting for people to come to my store. And as I crochet, I didn't realize this, but sometimes when you do something and you can feel eyeballs aimed at you, I felt that. So every time I crochet, I was like, okay, I feel like someone's staring, and then I'll look up and then there was someone staring and just watching me crochet, and I'll just be like, hi, I'm just crocheting, and they would just smile and give me a nod and then walk off. And I just thought, okay, I think they're just I don't know, just want to see how I was crocheting. And there was one guy who walked past and they just said, whoa, you're fast. And then we both had a laugh, and then I just said, yeah, I've been doing this for a while. And he was like, yes, I can tell. And he just said, yeah, keep those hands going. And it was really nice to know that people were just understanding that, crochet is only done by the hand, and just knowing, that all the toys that I sell are handmade because of that, how should I say, performance. It's not really a performance, because I was just trying to kill time with it. But then for other people who walk past my store, I think they probably would have seen it as a performance, and just seeing, that craft being, done in real life. So yeah, it was really, I think if you are ever going to do a market, definitely bring a ball of yarn, bring your hook, and just show people how you make your creations, because I think when they see it, they definitely, are more, they admire your work a lot more, and they just know that you do put a lot of effort into your work, and that your creations are purely handmade. They are not, made by a machine. It is purely by your own hands. So yeah, so that was something that I had done, and it was really nice having my husband there as well. He did keep me company. My in-laws actually came and visited, which was really beautiful. They even got me flowers, which was really lovely, and Captain was so excited to see them as well. But it was just really nice to have my family there, showing support, and just, being my cheerleaders for the day. I think Captain really definitely drew people in as well. And that was not my intention. I didn't want to leave Captain at home for over 12 hours. That was the only reason why we brought him with us. And we knew that in Kirribilli there's a really nice dog park that oversees, the Harbour Bridge. Oh, is it the Harbour Bridge? No, oversees the Sydney Opera House. And we just wanted to, take him with us so that he can, visit another area and have fun with other dogs. which is the real reason why my husband was there, besides helping me load things and open tables up and stuff. But yeah, Captain definitely brought in some business. Everyone was so excited to see Captain himself. I don't think he realized that he was a celebrity for the day. He actually received so many little pats, so many rubs, so many hugs. Kids loved him, adults loved him, other dogs loved him. So I think I'll be taking Captain with me to other future markets, if they allow it. That's the thing. So, but yeah, he was really good. He was a very good boy. Everyone said he was a very good boy. My neighbor even said, I think you need to create a little padding booth for your dog. And I just thought, you know what, that's a great idea. Maybe if I have time, I will create a little padding booth, and then he can stick his head out and then people can just pat his head. So yeah, and he also fit the theme of my store. Like, he's very cute, really fluffy, and I have really cute, maybe not so fluffy toys, some fluffy toys. But yeah, he definitely drew a lot of attention to my store. So thank you, Captain. He's currently having breakfast. That's why he pressed the nom nom. Oh, speaking of which, I fed him. But anyway, so basically, overall, market was great. It actually ran between 8:30 till 3, but I packed up at 2:30. Only because I knew it was going to take me half an hour to pack up, and I was there so early. I just wanted to go because I was quite exhausted by the end of the day. In hindsight, I probably would have waited till 3, because as I was packing up, I had like three people come back to my store and ask me if they could buy something, and I had already packed up, so that probably would have influenced my sales a little bit more. Thinking about it, I probably would have sold similar amount to my first market if I didn't close my store earlier. But it was my first market. I rocked up really early, and it was my second market, but it was the first one. It was my first ever market in this particular market. So I was ready to pack up and go. But I think for the next one, I probably will wait till the 3 p.m. mark, or maybe 2:45 mark, and then I will slowly pack up before, so that people who want to come back to buy anything, they can come back and get those items. But yeah, in terms of, so I had this question asked a lot for my previous market in terms of how many items I sold and how much I earned and all those things. So I thought for this one, I would probably talk about it a little bit more, just to give you a bit of insight and be really transparent in terms of finances and numbers. So I would say, so I just have it all written on this book. I did a little quick summary of all my numbers. So in terms of the number of items sold, I actually sold 40 items for the Kirribilli Markets, whereas with the Koko Kawaii Cafe market, I actually sold 60 items. So that's 20 items more. And I will talk a little bit more about that difference. My most popular item, is no surprise, was my dim sum. So I think the most popular dim sum was my silong bao. I sold 10 of those. Actually, maybe this is wrong, because no, this is right, because no, it's not right actually. I didn't have that many left. No, I actually sold a little bit more than 15. I think it was 16 or 17 actually, because some people paid in cash and I probably didn't write those down. But regardless, my most popular dim sum was the silong bao, and I also had the larger silong bao for sale as well, and that was sold instantly. Like, someone went, saw it, grabbed it, and was like, oh, this is really squishy, I'm gonna buy this. So my handmade toys was the next one that sold really well as well. But in total, I sold just over 40 items. With Koko Kawaii, it was very similar as well, but the most popular item that was sold at Koko Kawaii was actually my stickers. So if you remember that I said Koko Kawaii, I sold 60 items, whereas Kirribilli Markets, I only sold 40. So the reason for that was because people at Koko Kawaii Cafe actually bought more stickers and cards. And that actually brought up my sales and also the number of items that was being sold at the Koko Kawaii Cafe market. And another thing to mention is that at the Koko Kawaii Cafe market, I actually had less item types sold. So I only had the dim sum, my handmade toys, cards, stickers, kits, and the fruity brooches, and that was it. Whereas for the Kirribilli Markets, I actually had the additional wristlets, macrame keychains, the mug rugs, and what else? And also my stitch markers. So I had more item types sold at the Kirribilli Markets, but I sold less items than the Koko Kawaii Cafe market. And I think the reason for that, one, is that Koko Kawaii definitely did advertise the market a lot on Instagram, and the people who rocked up also had the intention to buy. They also had the intention to buy items from the stores, and there were only 6 of us there as well. So compared to 120 stores to 60 stores, so there was a much larger variety of items sold at the Kirribilli Markets compared to at the Koko Kawaii Markets. So at a larger market, there's obviously going to be a bit more competition as well. So for myself, I wasn't the only one selling crocheted items. I was actually next to a lady who was selling crocheted baskets as well, and she actually got quite a few sales. And then my mother-in-law told me that further down the tunnel, there was also someone who was selling crocheted amigurumi toys as well. So there was a little bit more competition, even though there was like 2 other stores. Actually, no, there was 1 other store who was selling crocheted lemons. So there was 3 other stores besides mine that was selling crocheted items, and also macrame as well. So in comparison, from 120 stores to the 60 stores that was in Koko Kawaii, there was a little bit more competition, and that would make sense why my sales was probably not as high compared to my Koko Kawaii market sales. So that's also one factor. But honestly, like I said, the competition I feel like is really great. I really admired the work that my neighbor had done, because I don't crochet baskets. I don't even know where to start. I don't even know what materials to use. And she was crocheting next to me while I was crocheting, and it was really amazing because we just had this little crochet corner. And people noticed that as well. And so I guess my store drew people to her store, and her store drew people to my store. So we kind of helped each other out in a way. And again, and it just depends on people's preference, like in terms of what items they want to buy. So competition or not, I think it kind of just I feel like it actually helps each other in terms of your crochet business or not. So yeah, so for the Koko Kawaii Market, I was the only one selling crocheted items. I only had a few stickers, whereas the other stores, they actually, I think I would say 3 out of the 6 stores sold stickers. So that's half of the stores there sold stickers, and I only sold a few, and I had 20 little die cut stickers that were sold, and more people bought cards as well. So, and also because that market, in that cafe is a stationery cafe. It's a cute stationery cafe that sells, you know, keychains, stickers, cards. It's a cafe for that particular you know, for those particular things to sell. So it just made sense that, you know, those items would sell more in that particular market. So if I was to, you know, remove the stickers and stuff, then in terms of number of sales for, you know, my physical toys, it becomes the same. In reality, it actually becomes the same. So in terms of my earnings, just having talked about how many items I sold, and in comparison to my first market, so it would be a no-brainer that I didn't make as many at the Kirribilli Markets. So at the Kirribilli Markets, I actually made $904, whereas at the Koko Kawaii Cafe, I made $946. So I know that number is there's not such a big difference. It's only literally like $46 difference. Actually, it's like $40 difference. It's only $40 difference. But then when you account for fees, so I used a Square Reader, and there's a transaction fee with that. So with the transaction fee for the Kirribilli Markets, it was $14, and then the market fee was actually $150. So it was $130 for the stall and then additional $20 of insurance, which I just bought the insurance just in case anything happened. So it came to $150. And so when I deduct that, my actual earnings was actually $739, so $740. Which actually is not too bad. And then if you were to ask me in terms of material cost, if I was to deduct the material cost as well, I would say I earned around $600, which I would say is not too bad. That is actually pretty good. And then when I compare to the Koko Kawaii Cafe, so for Koko Kawaii, transaction fee, if you remember the number, I earned $946. The transaction fee was $15.50, and the market fee was only $100. It was definitely much cheaper, but the area that I had was a lot smaller. So for Koko Kawaii, I literally only had a 80 by 80 table, whereas for Kirribilli, I had a 3 by 3 meter space. That's a massive difference. So I was definitely much more comfortable with the Kirribilli Markets because I had the sitting room, I didn't have to stand all day, whereas with the Koko Kawaii one, I could sit down, but then I ended up using my seats to put my bags on so that I could, you know, put the toys in the bag and just give it to people. And so there wasn't a lot of space. So it makes sense that that was only $100. And when I do the maths, then I earn $830 at the Koko Kawaii Cafe. And then again, accounting for material costs, I would have probably made around $700. So which I would say is, in terms of how much I made compared to between Kirribilli and the Koko Kawaii Cafe, there was $100 difference. With that being said, I would say in terms of how comfortable I was or how tired I was and stuff, I would say the Kirribilli Markets was a lot more chill. I don't know if it's because it's been spread across the day a little bit longer. Like people, I would say, even though on the website the market starts at 8:30, I would say the market really started at 8 and ended at 3. And I would say, because I actually had time to crochet, I had time to sit down and just relax and not have to be constantly, you know, socializing and talking to people. Whereas with Koko Kawaii, as soon as the door opened at 10 a.m., there was a rush of people. And that rush did not end until it was lunchtime, and there was like probably a 30-minute window where we could sit down and breathe and just be like, okay, you know, like that was a really great morning. Now we need to get ready for the afternoon. And then as soon as the lunch break ended, there was another mad rush. Whereas with Kirribilli, it was just this nice gradual, you know, visitation of people, and I didn't have to always be so, you know, engaged all the time. I could, you know, like I said before, sit down and crochet or stand and crochet and not have to worry about, you know, greeting people too much, because a lot of the time people do just walk past, they just look at your items, or they'll walk and they don't really want to talk to you, or some people don't really want to talk to you, so they will just look at your items and, you know, give you a smile and then they'll walk away. So in terms of that, I definitely preferred the Kirribilli Markets, even though I didn't earn as much. But I would also say weather was probably a factor as well, because on the day of the Kirribilli Markets, it was raining, it was pouring. So I was really surprised that people actually turned up. And I would feel like, yeah, weather is definitely a factor in this. If it was not as wet, I think there'll be a lot more people coming by, and maybe I would have had a few more sales. So yeah, so I would say even though I earned more at Koko Kawaii, I definitely did prefer the Kirribilli Markets a little bit more. With that being said, I would still sell at the Koko Kawaii Cafe, because it was Brittany and her team were very lovely. It was really nice actually being able to talk to every single artist on the day as well. Whereas with the Kirribilli Markets, there's so many people. I wasn't really able to talk to many people except for the stores that were around me, which I guess is really similar to Koko Kawaii, I guess, because there was 6 stores around me, and with Kirribilli there were 6 stores around me as well. So I got to talk to those owners. The next one that I'm doing is actually on the 27th of May. So that's next month. Hopefully I'll have more time to, you know, make you know, more toys to sell, I literally scrambled in that 5 days to get things out so that I could sell them to the market, sell them at the market. So I'm probably a little bit more prepared for the next market, and hopefully I'll have more toys and more variety of toys as well. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions or comments, definitely leave them in the comments below. And also, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up, and also subscribe to my channel to see any to follow for any other new content that I'll be creating. But yeah, I hope everyone will have a great day, and I'll see you all very soon. Bye.